Hello fellow leggers, you are joining us in Aylesbury at the beautiful Waterside Theatre,
where we are catching the UK tour of the Mike Leigh modern classic play, Abigail's Party.
So stick around to hear our thoughts.
Pour yourself a drink and find out whether it's break a leg or leg it.
Abigail's Party. Now, I have heard of this. I think it's out there in classic theatre.
Yes.
Never seen it.
I mean, it's been produced a hell of a lot because apparently it's a really great text. And to be honest with you, I feel like I was born in the wrong era. This is set in the decade in which it was written in the 1970s. And I love the 70s.
Yeah.
Disco music, flared trousers, big collars, and a lot of drinking. There was a lot of drinking went on in the 70s. I mean, what else do you do?
As well?
What else?
Was that the 60s?
All right, we're going a bit off. I'm going far here, aren't we?
We're indulging in the 70s, you know.
I mean, there wasn't much to do during the miners' strike, so I think they just, well, there was a lot of power cuts, weren't there? So they just drank a lot. It sounds great. I wish I'd have lived there. Well, this is written by Mike Leigh, whose other writing credits include the play Ecstasy and
Drugs. There you are. I told you so.
And the multiple award-winning film starring Imelda Staunton, Vera Drake.
Yep.
I think she was nominated for an Oscar for that.
She was nominated for probably
At
a
least
number of
BAFTA,
things.
Right?
Yeah.
Let us know down below. Was it an Oscar?
I have heard of Mike Leigh. He's done some very good British films.
He has. Now, Abigail's Party is a suburban situation comedy, and it premiered at the Hampstead Theatre in 1977, starring Alison Steadman in the role of Beverly. I love Alison Steadman in Gavin and Stacey. She's a joy. It was later adapted into a highly successful TV play, which is number 11 in the British Film Institute's all-time top 100 TV shows.
Well, I didn't know they had such a list, but hey, making it number 11
that's
is pretty good.
Up. Now, this production is directed by Sarah Esdale and stars Coronation Street's Molly Dobbs, Vicky Benz, Daniel Casey, who's best known for playing DCI Tom Barnaby on 6 seasons of Midsummer Murders.
Okay.
But playing Beverly in this production is the winner of the BBC talent show Hunt for Nancy, I'd Do Anything, Jodie Prenger.
And I saw her in that production of Oliver, and she was great.
I saw her in Spam-A-Lot as Lady of the Lake, and she was great. She's best known for musicals, so I'm really interested to see her step away from a musical role. Show's about 2 hours long, plus an interval, so do stick around for our 30-second interval breakdown.
And as usual, stick around to the end to hear all of our thoughts and find out how many stars. We've come to the interval, which means it is time for the Break-A-Leggers 30-second interval breakdown. Go!
You go first.
I'm really enjoying it. It's very dated, so it's a real insight into a time gone by that wasn't that far away, but was really far away. But my cheeks are sore from grinning from start to finish. I'm really enjoying it. How about you?
I absolutely love it. I go so far to say that I think it's probably a masterpiece, and it's witty, it's comical, it's period, it's so well performed and directed. I am having the best time and can't wait to get back inside.
We've come to the end of Abigail's Party, our first viewing, our first time seeing this.
And that's the thing, do you know what? I feel gutted that this is my first time, that I've got to the ripe old age of 24 and I've never ever seen this before.
How old was that, sorry?
24.
Right, okay.
But how have I missed this for all these years? Because for me now, it's the benchmark for which all British comedies should be set against that came any time after this. I mean, it's so easy to think of British comedies now that have lucky enough to have a legacy to fall back on, to lean on and to know how it's done. But this was written in 1977, guys, and everything was still so fresh, and those ideas are still there. They're still relevant in things like the royal family and the thick of it and those relationships that were established by Mike Leigh in Abigail's Party, and who bloody knew? I loved it.
So you liked it then?
Just a bit.
You liked it? It was great. The characters are so well defined as a piece. They're very familiar. I could see them. You talked about the royal family. I thought this would transpose really well to TV, and it obviously did.
Yeah, I mean it's number 11.
Yeah, I want to go and see it now. I want to see what they've done because I think the characters were brilliant. The way it built, and you could see what was happening. I was quite tense inside. I was thinking, what's going to happen? Where's this going to go? This is a bubbling, boiling pot, just bubbling and getting more and more like dense and intense. It was just, I really enjoyed it. And I was at that kind of like inside hysterical towards the end, where I was just laughing a lot to myself. And it's very black comedy.
It is black comedy.
It's genius writing.
It's bloody
the piece
hilarious,
is good.
and that's it. It's all in the writing here, guys. The amount of times that we say there's a production where, unfortunately, the book wasn't good, but the actual performances lifted it. There is no weak link here. They've got fantastic text delivered by a fantastic cast. It is an all-round, just a great production, and I bow down at the feet of the people that have thought to put this on the show, which is so nostalgic. It's so 1970s and unashamedly retro.
It's very dated,
but it's dated in such a positive way. Not dated as in it's still not relevant. It's actually I recognise it
because you took properties were £21,000 to buy a house. You're talking about relationships, 15-year-old with a 21-year-old. In law, you can't have that anymore.
I'm not even sure you could then, but it was something that was a little bit more, I don't even want to say acceptable,
I don't think
but there's salaciousness to that period where it was all grabbing bottoms and that sort of unashamed flirtiness, and it's right here in this piece. What I also like was what it has to say about class,
race, class as well. Even pieces nowadays as well that do have good commentaries on class, but this is the main character. I love how she just wants to be what she isn't. It's almost very
Beverly.
Hyacinth Bouquet in a way, kind of wanting to be above
pretenses and kind of keeping up appearances, which is what everybody was doing, and they were all trying to outdo one another. And you see that so clearly here, of being ashamed of what your roots are and feeling you've got to conform because of the area you live in or the company you keep. But you know what? I think we still do that a little bit now, right?
I
adapt to my environment, don't you?
Beverly's art that she likes just says it all about her character.
Yeah.
She would be on Jeremy Kyle.
Tacky-tastic. There is a piece of art which actually comes out in the last 10 minutes, which I recognised off a friend's wall.
Really?
One of my father's friends growing up had that on their lounge wall, and it's shite, guys. It's absolute shite.
But it's the sort of stuff you see in the market for £5.
Yeah.
And you just walk by and think, no.
Loved it. You'll probably not have a clue what we're talking about, but if you see this piece, it will all become clear.
Okay, so we're happy with the piece. The piece is good. So let's talk about the performances. We said the characters are great.
And the performances were masterful. I mean, let's start right at the top. Jodie Prenger, who's known for musical theatre, but my God, has she got some comic chops?
She's brilliant. She's a great actress. Yeah. I mean, we don't know the original, so we've got nothing to compare this to.
No.
So this is a new Beverly to us. Jodie Prenger's Beverly is the only one we know, and she was great. Great characterization. I was with her throughout.
Do you know what? I was unsure to begin with because I thought it was too caricaturish. I thought, I'm worried here that she's Catherine Tate, one of those big sketch show characters. But as time went on, I really bought into her, which is something you can't do in a sketch show when you've got 5 minutes. Her character developed and had layers, even though it was over the top and big, almost as big as her breasts.
But you knew what the character was going to do, and she owned it. It was great. Loved her.
Daniel Casey as the boar, as Laurence, and what a difficult job it is to play the straight man in this sort of piece, because actually much of the comedy hangs off his non-comical performance.
He's having to respond to his wife, having to deal with that kind of big, brashy character. He's got so much class. He likes music, culture. He's the everything that she isn't.
Why has he ended up with her? I mean, they say opposites attract, but my God, he's the complete antithesis of Jodie's character.
And yet there's like a magnets repelling. They hate each other, and yet they need each other. It's that love-hate relationship, which is really well written.
Vicky Benz as Angela. What a natural performance. performance.
It was,
like,
and she's the natural part.
And she played it so well. I felt so at ease with her. I mean, when you see a soap actress, you worry about playing different characters. But I think she's gone to show again great ability.
Great stage actress.
What do you think of Callum Callaghan in the role of Tony, the sort of hard boy, a little bit of a geezer,
nasty,
working class through and through,
abusive.
Absolutely.
I thought he suited it very well.
Say so much in such little amount of text.
Yeah,
I thought has
he
was
a
lot
great.
To say in for a few lines.
Really liked
Rose Keegan in the role of Sue.
She was great as well. Great character.
I mean, again, her character is not subtle. There's no subtlety with her. It is this sort of like a very sort of like it's
passive. She's been bullied by Beverly, and she has no backbone.
No, she doesn't. And there's no surprises with her character, and there weren't a lot of surprises for me in her performance because I recognise her as, I want to say, Titch or something similar from Gimme Gimme Gimme. She works on the production line with Linda. Please comment below if you know what I mean. But she plays that character very much so. She's almost like I just recognised her immediately. I was like, that's that bird out of that one scene in Gimme Gimme Gimme. So I've only ever seen that character.
That's that bird.
That's
How
that bird.
butch.
Did I just say that?
That's that bird.
I never said that.
I don't think I've ever
that
heard
is
you
the most,
say that.
I'm so sorry. I don't
Obviously
even know
back
where
in the
that came
1970s,
from.
Mega
It's
Simon.
because I'm overtaken by the period. I've never used that word before in my life.
That's that bird.
Who knew?
But yeah, really great cast. In terms of production, then the set, I thought the set was great.
Yeah.
It was as if we were looking into a 1970s
Janet
living
Bird
room.
was the designer.
Wood design.
Yeah, the wood panelling,
the floral
sort of
dresses,
throw rug, and the kind of tacky-tasticness of the bold patterns on the curtains.
Yeah.
I love the 70s, like I've said before, but I would kill for that lounge.
I would not.
I would.
I would kill you if you acquired that lounge. If I came home and found that, we'd have a Beverly and husband relationship going on. The set was actually quite small, quite narrow. I think it only took up half of the stage.
Yes.
So it's obviously very adaptable for different size houses being out on tour.
Yeah, this is a massive stage.
This was a
at
big
the Aylesbury
stage,
Waterside.
and it opened up wide, and still there was space again. But it worked. The performance carried, so did the set.
Yep, I would mention Charmaine Hora's dialect coach because Jodie Prenger's a northern lass. I've used the word lass now as well.
and the accents were great. Yep. Yeah, I was thinking I wouldn't know. If I didn't know it's Jodie Prenger, I wouldn't know that was Jodie Prenger.
Can we also mention Lucy Cullingford for movement direction? There's dancing, and the mannerisms that they all have really define their characters, I thought, because they move in such distinctive ways. I was very impressed with the characterisation and the direction they've had from Lucy Cullingford as movement director. But Sarah Esdale as director of the whole piece. What a brilliant, bold, beautiful production of a retro piece which couldn't be more suitable for a time where the whole country is looking back at nostalgia and to a better time.
Yeah.
But was it any better? I don't think it was personally.
No,
it was
definitely
just
not.
different, and it doesn't always mean better.
I know, definitely don't. This is, controversial, but I don't think so.
No, but a similar thing was explored in Home I'm Darling, actually, and I would compare them slightly. I mean, Home I'm Darling is a now piece being 1950s, whereas this is a 70s piece being 1970s.
It is what it is. It's set where it is.
But I think people will look at it with similar eyes, in that critical way of, were times actually better or different, or how did we treat one another, and was that okay? How have we evolved? There's just a huge amount to be said in what on the surface seems to be just any other farce, and it's not any other farce.
Deep, man.
It is deep.
Okay, well, you're probably wondering how many stars we are going to give the UK tour of Abigail's Party, which is currently here at the Waterside Theatre in Aylesbury.
For Mike Leigh's Abigail's Party, we are going to give 5.
Loved it.
Yeah, just absolutely loved it. I would sit through it again. Do you know what? I'd go so far as to say it's in my top 5 plays of all time. I had
Whoa,
that good a
that's
time.
impressive.
I stood at the end to applaud the wonderful delivery of these actors in such a fantastic piece of theatre, which I would highly recommend to everyone I know. I think it helped that we said we recognised a lot of the characters. Like,
I think we do.
We associate with some,
relatable.
Yeah, we associate with some very over-the-top sorts, as you can probably imagine. I don't know why they're attracted to us, but I just think that helped a huge amount. But I just had the best time. I was smiling, and I'm going to be talking about this in the
Well,
future.
I was going to say, coming off the back of some of the shows we've seen, thank you for your comments on Betrayal with Tom Hiddleston, which is a Pinter, and also Shipwreck, which was at the Almeida, which we didn't have that great a time. They're kind of slow or confusing.
Yeah.
This stood out in stark contrast, just to have a piece that was relatable, that was enjoyable, that was just as deep, really interesting message.
Yeah, that's not
this is the theatre I want to refer people to say, this is what theatre can be like. You can have a good time.
It has great appeal, as you know, to a very British audience, I would say.
What, this one?
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
That's just what
Prove
I
us
think.
wrong. That's what Lega Simon thinks.
Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree?
We'd love to hear from you. We read all of your comments, so thank you very much. If you want to see more of us, maybe hit in a town near you, then hit subscribe, and then you will. We'll be right there. We're the Breaker Leggers.
And we'll catch you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.